Welcome back, everyone, to Onyx's Rambling Reviews. I put my mic on a stick. Figured I'd try something new. Hopefully my cat will not interrupt this too much. We'll see. Today's review and recap is on Project Hail Mary. I got to see it in an early access screening, so that's why this is out before the movie technically releases. Woo! Also, this movie's great. 4.5 stars. I really liked it. It wasn't quite 5 stars for me. I tend to be very particular about 5-star movies. I'll give out 3s and 4s a little more freely, but a 5-star, you really got to earn that. And this came real close. I even got the popcorn bucket. There it is. This movie is great. Okay, so I did start reading the book. These are very slippery pants, apparently. I did start reading the book. I only got about halfway through it. Unlike with Wuthering Heights, where I only got halfway through that book, and I stopped reading because I hated that book. I didn't finish this book because I ran out of time to finish it before I saw the movie, unfortunately. But what I read, I loved. Definitely read the book. It is hilarious. Andy Weir's sense of humor is amazing, and it comes across in writing really well. He is brilliant. Let me see if I can find one of my favorite quotes, actually. One of my favorite quotes, and this is from really early in the book. All right, genius brain, come up with something. I'm hungry. You have failed me, brain. And if that tells you anything about the sense of humor in this book, it should tell you enough, in my opinion. Hopefully that stays up. And if not, it'll probably jump scare me when it falls. I may or may not leave that in. From what I've read of the book, I think all of the casting choices were perfect. Like, honestly, I don't think I could see anybody else playing Dr. Ryland Grace besides Ryan Gosling. He feels like he understands the character. He understands his sense of humor and the dry wit, but also his reluctance to actually go into space throughout the on Earth segments. He's just like, yeah, I want to help out, but I don't want to be up there. I think he did a brilliant job. He's amazing at it. And Sandra Huller? There's an umlaut over the U in her last name. As Eva Stratt. Oh, I loved her. She's very deadpan in the book, very just business oriented. Sandra does an amazing job with this character as well. Honestly, everybody's great. James Ortiz is the voice of Rocky, our little alien friend. Oh, it's hilarious. No, that voice is perfect. The other character that I'm gonna call out, the other actor, I just looked this up. His last name is Boyce. Oh, now it's gonna bother me. I literally just looked this up. Mr. Boyce as Carl, the government agent. I am not sure which government department. Just all of them, apparently, at one point is mentioned in the movie. Oh, he's fun, too. He's fun. He doesn't have a huge role, but he definitely... He's there for some comedic relief, but also to, kind of be, the muscle for Eva. He does it perfectly. This is directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Oh, they did a brilliant job. This movie is gorgeous. The colors are so vibrant, and they pop so well. The sound design is amazing. Especially the scenes in space where it's silent and then suddenly you're hearing through, the sound comes in because you're on the other side of the wall and you're hearing things now. I love that with space movies, how they capture sound so well. It's brilliant. With those things in mind, are we ready to start the recap? Are we ready to start my review and my thoughts as I talk about this movie? I think we are. So, spoiler alert, as usual. Let's get into it. We start with Grace waking up on the Hail Mary. That's the name of the ship. The ship that he is on in space is the Hail Mary. So he's waking up from, I don't know how many years it's been. I think, when he's going back, it's 4 years and some amount of months and days. So it's probably been about that long to get there. So he's probably been in a coma, an induced coma, for about 4+ years. And he has no recollection of why he is there. He doesn't remember who he is. He definitely doesn't remember much. So we wake up, this robot, it unzips him from this cocoon tube thing, sleeping bag sort of thing. Cats are weird. He's waking up and this robot's unzipping him, and it starts asking him, what's 2 + 2? Because it's just eye movement detected, so we're going to start waking you up. Pulls out the tube that was down his throat to help him breathe and everything. And probably to feed him, I think, because there was no injection site in the abdomen for that kind of feeding. kind of a tube. He screams at the robot and rolls off the bed. He starts throwing things, and the robot just keeps asking what's 2 plus 2, and he never answers that. What's interesting is in the book, there's one point where he's trying to get to like the next level of the ship. He's gotten to the lab in the ship, but to get to like the control center, he needs to say his name. That's not in the movie, and I'm not sure why they left that part out. I think that would have been an interesting thing to have in the movie. That he needed to like remember who he is to get to that next part. We see him. Eventually he does name the robot Armando, which it fits. The robot's mostly just arms. As he's trying to climb up, he finds his other 2 shipmates. They did not survive the journey. They are dead. And they have been for a while, based on the state of their corpses. He finally gets up to the command center where like the pilot seat is and everything. And he tries to call Earth, and it's just like, nope, Earth is too far away to call. So he starts freaking out a little bit. He's just like, oh, there's the sun. So he thinks he's near Earth. That's not his sun. No, he starts doing science and math. He's not sure why he remembers what, like he sees things in the lab and he's just like, why is this specific piece of equipment that he knows exactly what it is? And then he's just like, why do I know what that is? Because he doesn't remember who he is, what he did, or anything. But he's like, he remembers certain things. It all comes back to him eventually. So he says science and math, figures out where he is and what's going on, and slowly, like, we get flashbacks to before he got put on this mission to go save Earth. So, and that's also how the book's written. It's a timeline jump. Like, some chapters are present and some chapters are the past, and that's how it is here. Some scenes are present and some scenes are the past. Kids seem to love him. He's a great teacher. He's having fun. The Petrovaline, which is one of the, like, the big cause of everything going on. It was discovered about 2 years ago, and they finally got a sample back from it. It's like landing like that day or like the night before or something. But his kids are asking about it and what's going on because the sun is getting dimmer because of whatever's going on with the Petrovaline, which spans from the sun to Venus. And it comes up later. It's just like, why is this line going from the sun to Venus and not Mercury? CO2 emissions. They don't know exactly what it is or anything, but now we're back on the ship again. We get another flashback. And he's just reminiscing about his crew there. He's sad. He's still trying to remember things. Back to the past. Eva shows up at his school. Eva? Dr. Strat. I'll call her that. Dr. Strat shows up at his school. Completely unannounced or for any reason. And she's like, I want to talk to you about this paper you wrote. And he's just like, nope. That's what got me kicked out of the like scientific community and everything. Because he theorized that it's possible for life to exist without water. Sure, our life has formed because of water, but that doesn't mean that somewhere else out in the universe, a species exists that doesn't need water or isn't based on water. There's a reason he's a middle school teacher now and not doing science. She's interested in this because of this fact. These things that they found in the Petrovaline that are eventually named astrophage. Dr. Grace actually names them that in the book. It's never really brought up who names them in the movie. Not important, really. They're called astrophages. These little black dots that are dimming the sun, eating its light, its energy. If they're, existing in the sun, how can they exist if they are water-based? Because of the temperature of the sun. He's trying to get away from her, and she's just like, I want you to come with me. He does go with her. He is taken to a military site, I guess. He's put into a box in a lab that is filled with argon because that is what they found, what they encased the sample of the astrophage in when they brought it back from space. And they're just like, we don't know if it'll survive in our atmosphere. It does, thankfully, but we don't learn that for a little bit. He is in full on safety gear, bubble kind of suit thing, and the line's just like, seems like you don't care if I die or not. Am I expendable? And this Dr. Strat turns to all the military generals from all these different countries who are standing there watching him as well, and they discuss it. Just it has been this. It's we have concurred that it's best if you didn't die, which is great. You don't want to die, and it's always good to know that people would rather have you alive. He's asked to analyze the Petrova sample. All of these tests that he does, light, all these different rays, X-rays, gamma rays, all different light spectrums, they can't pierce the blackness, the opaqueness of these dots. They're just called dots most of the time. The astrophage dots. And eventually he just gets this really tiny needle, really tiny, and he pokes it. And he can see inside. And it immediately dies. But also, he's able to see what's in there, and he's able to figure out what they're made of and everything. Guess what? They're water-based life forms. It's confusing with the fact that they are able to survive with sun energy and all that temperature. I don't know how that works, but it does. Yes, sir. I'm recording. Once that's figured out, Dr. Strat is just like, well, you're not needed anymore. You figured out enough that we needed what we needed to figure out. Bye. And he's just like, wait, no, I want to keep working on this. And she's like, you get to keep 3 dots. Because the rest of them are being sent to labs across the world. Every country that could work on this is going to be working on this. You get to keep 3 dots. Do you like dots, sir? Say hello to the people. Say hello. You want to say hello? No, now he doesn't want to speak. Of course not. Hi. So, he gets to keep his dots. His 3 dots. And this is when he starts trying to figure out why they want to go to Venus over Mercury. And that's when he figures out the CO2 thing and certain light frequencies and all that. He asks Carl at one point, he's just like, do I have an expense fund? And Carl's just like, no. But I do. And they go to this warehouse shop. I think it's like, it's similar to like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. It's they buy so much duct tape and so much aluminum foil. Aluminium foil. I'll let you decide which pronunciation you like better. They build a box with plywood and duct tape, and they like block off a bunch of light with the help of the aluminium foil because they need pure darkness. Dr. Grace starts the experiment. He turns it on. He can't find his 3 astrophage anymore. They disappeared. But he also can't open the box that they disappeared from because they might disappear into the other room. So they move that box into the lab that he was originally in, and they close that room off, and they darken it. Then he gets night vision goggles that have different light frequencies or something, so he can find them. And he had 3 dots. He now has 4. He has successfully bred astrophage. Woo! That's important. Also, if it's eating your son, do you really want to make more of it? Because that doesn't seem good. And so because of this fact that he has bred astrophage, he is now taken away. Carl gives him a pill. He's just like, and Grace is like, I don't usually take pills that people just force me to take. He's on a fighter jet. He's on a battleship. He is very woozy. He tried to take the pills while flying as he was like throwing them into his mouth. Ryan Gosling is a great actor. I can see him being up for Best Actor for this role. Speaking of, since we just had the Oscars, I would do a video on that. There's only like 2 things that I really have opinions on, so I'm not going to. I was happy overall. There's my thoughts on the Oscars. I was happy overall, I guess. Would have rather had Sinners win, but not the point of this video. He's now on this ship in the middle of the ocean, very far from land, which is important for testing things that they will be testing in the future. As he's taking off the plane, somebody shows up with 2 coffees and hands them both to Dr. Strat, and she's like, get him a water. I need both of these. Considering what I think she's been doing, because she's cornering with like every government, every scientist trying to like solve this issue and like find the solution, find a way to fix things. Yeah, she's probably running on at best an hour of sleep, I'm guessing. Honestly, probably more, but if she's drinking 2 coffees at that time, girl is busy. He is taken to this meeting room where there's also like people in a different spot that are remoting in through a screen. He's talking about how he bred astrophage, and somebody's just like, yeah, we've already duplicated this at our lab, and he's just like, excuse me, how? Because of the need to like solve this so fast, peer review and everything is kind of put to the side, and everybody's just getting their research just handed around. Just everybody's just like, so I did this, and everybody else is just like, okay, let's try this, and so on and so forth. He's there, he's talking, and he learns about Project Hail Mary, because during this meeting, Dr. Scott's just like, I grant you top secret clearance to this. She has that authority. I don't know who she works for. I don't think she works for me. I think she is the supreme leader of everything. And I respect that. Project Hail Mary, the Hail Mary ship, it's a one-way trip. They'll have enough fuel to get to the one star in the galaxy that has not been infected with astrophage, that is not dying. And nobody knows why this one star, because it's close enough to other stars that it should have been infected. I think in the books it's like 8 or 11, somewhere between like 8 and 11 light years distance, something like that. And it's close enough to other stars that it should be infected, but it's not. So they want to send a mission up there to see why, figure out why it's not infected, and if so, what's going on, and can they send that information back to Earth to fix what's going on here. That all happens in the past. We're back on the ship, and Dr. Grace is giving his crewmates a little ceremony saying his goodbyes, and then he expels them from the ship. He just kind of lets them float out into space. I think that was the right choice. It'd be weirder to keep. It's not like he's going back to Earth. Why would he need to keep the bodies? As horrible as that sounds, but they also knew that this was going to be a one-way trip when they signed up. They just probably didn't realize they wouldn't even make it to the endpoint before they died. He gives them that. After that, the ship is now approaching Tau Ceti, the one star, Tau Ceti. And it stops, like, zooming, which was creating the gravity that he has been living in. He does not do well when zero G. He freaks out a bit. But here's the thing. Tau Ceti, while it is not infected, it does have a Petrova line. It does have astrophage, but it's not dying. It's doing well. And as he's looking at the Petrova line from Tau Ceti to the planet that the Petrova line is going to, there's this blip that like blocks some of the line. It's another ship. Dun dun dun! I've always wanted to do that. He is not a pilot. And he keeps accidentally sitting in the seat that I think is the pilot seat. And he's like, pilot detect. And he's like, nope. And like pushes himself off the seat. He's like, I'm not a pilot. I don't know what I'm doing here. He's watching this other ship. It lines up. And like as he scoots his ship and does things, the other ship matches what he does. It copies him. And then it throws this canister type thing at his ship. It just kind of bounces off the ship. It doesn't do anything. It's just like, well, that's good. It throws another one. Slower this time. And since it's slower, Dr. Grace has time to get into his EVA suit, which is just a fancier version of a spacesuit. It's probably like a lot nicer than like what we've seen like in the past, those big clunky ones. This is much more streamlined, probably a lot more technical and everything. But he gets out there, he keeps his tether lines attached to it, to always be attached to 2 lines. He does that. He catches, he kind of fumbles the catch. He does catch the cylinder this time. And you just kind of see it in shadow as he holds it up. He's just like, yeah. So he goes inside. He keeps trying to open it. Also, the container is made out of xenon, which on Earth, xenon is one of the noble gases. Not wherever it came from is it a gas. In the book, he jokes that he's going to call it an ignoble gas. Ignoble. That's the right word. He's just like, well, you're not a gas anymore. You're now a solid, which he calls the solid xenonite. I would have called it xenonite. That just like rolls off the tongue a little better. But I think he says it's xenonite. Whatever, that part's not super important. Just know that there is a metal in this part of the galaxy that is xenon. He keeps trying to open it because on Earth, the way you open a jar, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Not on this, wherever this planet is, wherever they came from. No, for them it is righty-loosey, lefty-tighty, which I hate that I just said that. That feels so wrong. But that is how he opens the thing. And a little, like, little, like, puppet things. They're not really puppets, but, like, this little diagram of everything. And it shows where that ship is from, which star it's from. And that star is also infected. That sun is also infected with astrophage and is also dying because every star except Tau Ceti is dying because of astrophage. He finally figures that out. There's also the scene where we find out the ship has a centrifuge capability where it pops out where the lab and control and all that is, and it'll spin so he can create gravity and actually use things in the lab, which is good because otherwise the lab wouldn't be functional in 0G. In the book, it's this whole thing where we could be making all of these devices, things, scientific equipment to function in zero G, or we could just make the ship a centrifuge and create gravity like that, and that's what they do. Seems a lot easier than hoping that equipment that if you are even like a little bit off could like kill you, and you don't know if it'll function zero G. Yeah, let's just make gravity work so you can use the stuff that we know works. He sent a tube back, or he sent the tube back, but he put something of his own in it. He sent it back to that ship. And then the ship builds like this tunnel. They'd seen where he was going in and out from in his ship, the airlock. And they build a tunnel, it is a tunnel, but I guess it's also, you could consider it a bridge between the two ships. The alien ship built this. Because clearly Ryland Grace does not know how to do this. He does not have that capability. No, it builds this walkway between the two. They meet. He knocks on. He does go into the tunnel once it's made in his suit and everything. Because why would you risk that? That'd be dumb. He's not dumb. He enters the tunnel. He knocks. Alien jump scare. That's slippery pants. Put that there for a moment. He knocks. The rock creature. It appears, it jump scares. Yes, I did jump during the movie. I am very susceptible to jump scares, and I hate that about myself. Because there are times where I'm like, I know it's coming. I will still jump, even though when I know it's coming. It's more of the sound than the visual. Sound gets me more than visuals when it comes to jump scares. Just a little rock guy. He has 4 legs. I'd say he's cute, but he's also just a rock with legs. But he's cute. Yeah, we'll go. He's cute. The alien knocks back, and then the alien wants him. And he's just like, yeah, okay, go away. And she's like, okay, so that's what you are. I wonder if that the species of alien that this little rock guy has some sort of, like, can figure out what Dr. Grace needs to survive or something. Because he sends Dr. Grace away. And Grace is just like, well, fine, I guess I'll go. And he starts preparing his equipment to go back and talk to the little rock creature. When he goes back, the tunnel's a little different. There's this a larger, like, glass looking wall. Yeah, wall. That makes the most sense. Wall. And this is when we learn that the creature mimics what he does, at least at this point. Like, he does his little, and the little creature goes. It's cute. It's funny. It's cute. They start, the little rock guy starts tapping, and turns out he was trying to point at something. He had left this little present, which it looks like 2 little bracelets of the glowy light. Turns out it's supposed to be like oxygen molecules. It's supposed to be like O2, oxygen. And he wants Dr. Ace to take off his helmet. And Dr. Ace is like, if I do that, I'll die. But also, he might not die because O2. He takes off his helmet and he can breathe. Woo! Heck yeah. No, the creature was not lying about the oxygen. And so this is where Dr. Grace is just like, okay, now we need to find a way to communicate. And his first thought is numbers. Numbers are like the most universal things, like at least on planet Earth. Numbers cross language barriers. Like everybody knows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., and so on. He first gives the creature a tape measure, which he just starts playing with, which it's kind of like a little kid when you give him tape measure and they're just like, ah. To be fair, I still do that these days. Tape measures are fun to play with. And if you agree, let me know in the comments below. If you don't agree, well, you're just not fun. He shows a clock next. And that's when he realizes that the little rock creature uses echolocation to see. So he goes and like makes the numbers on the clock more of a bump, a pop out. So the little creature can see them. And he starts trying to talk, and it's weird sounds. Ryland creates this program where he says a word, I'm assuming the creature is saying the word in its own language back, and he inputs it into the computer. You're back. You want to say something to the people? Uh-huh. Once he's put enough words into the program, he's like, we need to find a voice for you. And they go through a couple different voices. Meryl Streep is one of them. And he's just like, Meryl Streep can do anything. And that woman can do anything. Meryl Streep is amazing. Love Meryl Streep. She was also in Hoppers. Good movie. Yep, she is. Eventually they land on the voice that you hear in the trailer, Rocky, which Dr. Grace is named mostly because he's a rock, now voiced by James Ortiz. Brilliant job. The voice acting is great for Rocky. I love it. The computer tone that comes through, it does have some like variation. It's not just very flat. It hits, especially in like with the humor. We also learned that Rocky, much like Dr. Grace, is the only one left on his ship. He was 24 out of 24. He is now 1 out of 24. The other 23 have died. And from what Dr. Grace can determine based on what he has learned, it was from radiation sickness from the astrophage and everything. When Dr. Grace wants to go to sleep, Rocky's kind of freaking out because when his crewmates went to sleep, they didn't wake up. And so he's just like, I want to watch you sleep, make sure you wake up and everything. And then we flash back to the past, and we learn Dr. Grace was not even originally supposed to be on this ship. He wasn't even part of the backup team that was supposed to be on the ship, in case the first team failed or something. He was not part of the redundancy. He's on the ship. How'd he get there? Well, right now we're going back to the present. And Rocky has moved in with Dr. Grace on Hail Mary. He created this little, like, ball. It's not a perfect sphere. It's the closest thing I can compare it to is a dodecahedron, but there's many more sides than that. But that's kind of the vibe. It's like spherical-ish, but, like, it's made of, like, shapes. He rolls around in it because he needs it a lot hotter than Dr. Grace does, and he can't survive in the Earth's atmosphere with the oxygen and everything. Rocky moves in. Dr. Grace teaches him about Earth a little bit. Because one of the areas on the ship, which wasn't in the book, but I like they put it in the movie, is this one section where it's just a bunch of screens that can show different scenes, different movies, everything. It probably helps him not feel as stuck in space. It's probably a good place to like decompress. So he's showing Rocky all these things. The beach, climbing a tree, New York. And this is when we learn that Rocky has a mate back on his planet, Iridian. Now that's the species that we're just gonna call it Arid, whose name we will learn later is, we translate it to Adrian. Gotta appreciate the Rocky references, because Rocky and Adrian makes sense. Also, Rocky has been with Adrian for like 100+ years. Dang. That's impressive. They've been together longer than than any human has ever lived. Good on them. Back to the past. We're on the ship, and there's karaoke going on. People are just kind of living out, and they're just like, companionship. And it's just like, these people have accepted that this is a one-way trip, and they're just kind of living their best lives in the last few days. Dr. Grace goes out and talks to Dr. Straught on the deck of the ship, and then he goes back inside. And she eventually comes in, and she sings as well. And she sings Sign of the Times by Harry Styles. She doesn't sing the whole song, and she's just like, that's enough. It immediately leaves once she finishes what she's comfortable singing. She has a decent, like, she's a good singer. She's not, like, amazing, but, like, she's not a bad singer. She's really pretty good, honestly. They have made it close enough to Tau Ceti and everything. Back on the ship, by the way. So now Rocky and him are about to get a sample of the Petrova line that is going from Tau Ceti to this other planet in that system, Adrian, which is what they named that planet. They get the sample, and they find bacteria that is killing the astrophage, which is why Tau Ceti isn't dying. And this is a gorgeous scene. This is where I know it's very unlikely that Dr. Grace is seeing like the red of the Petrova line that we're seeing in the film. But he could be, I guess. But it's gorgeous. The colors are brilliant. It's a very deep scene. Turns out there's life on that planet. We also get to a point where, early on, once Rocky moved in, Rocky doesn't really know boundaries and apparently has amazing hearing. It's like, even as Grace is like whispering to do his video diaries that he's going to send back to Earth, Rocky's just like, who are you talking to? Like, clearly hear him, and he's a decent chunk away. They work it out eventually, or enough, I guess. Rocky doesn't want Grace to die. This is also around the time that Rocky's finding out Grace doesn't have enough fuel to get back home. And Grace says he's accepted death, he's accepted all this. Yeah, really, because Rocky's just like, take some of my astrophage to get you back. I have enough fuel. I'll just get home 6 years later. In the lifespan of the Iridians, that's probably like a week for a human. So 6 years is probably nothing for him. So he's gonna give Dr. Grace the astrophage to get home. So he's not just left in space. And they hug. Rocky's never had a hug, and it's not like Rocky can really hug back being in the ball, but he just kind of shoves in there. It's a cute moment. Because Rocky's saying what a hug is, and Dr. Grace is like, it ends when you just feel it. And Rocky's just like, are you feeling it yet? Then we're back on Earth, and I guess there's gonna be like a test flight or something. Something goes wrong, and it explodes. And that was the scientist for the first, like the main team that was gonna go on Hail Mary. And that scientist not there anymore. And I think the backup scientist was also in that lab. So they need to find a new scientist to fill that role. Because they were supposed to have this really tiny sample of astrophage to do the test with. And they were given, it was still a really tiny little sample, but like even a little bit of astrophage, even a little bit more, caused that huge of an explosion that killed all those people. It's tragic, but those people's lives were for the sake of the Earth not dying. Back in the present time, back on the ship, they're like, well, what if we try to get a sample of this bacteria from the planet? Rocky is able to create xenonite and builds this 5,000 meter long chain. It is a long chain. With this one is definitely a dodecahedron that's attached to the bottom of it that has these little pop outs that'll sample the air as it's going through Adrian's atmosphere. They have to be really careful about this. So we get this montage of Grace trying to learn how to pilot the ship, and he does. He could be a lot worse. He does manage it when he needs to, because that happens in every movie. When you need to do it, you can do it. They get the sample, but they're a little too close to Adrian's atmosphere, and it's starting to pull the ship apart and everything. Grace does get back inside with the sample. He's been outside, like, walking on the hull of the ship, because he had to pull the sample back in. Because Rocky's in his little bubble thing. He can't grab it. So Grace has to do it. He does. He grabs it. He gets back. It's a little rough. He drops it at one point because part of the ship went wee and flew into space. But he gets back inside, and they have to save the ship and everything. There's a hull breach in one of the fuel containers. Technically two of the fuel bays. I think it's 11 and 12. That's what's, like, at first they think they're good. They almost get out of the atmosphere into the orbit so they can get out of there. But then the hull breach happens, and that starts creating force that's pushing the ship to go places. Dr. Grace is able to eject those two fuel bays, so they're no longer being pushed anywhere. Grace passes out after that due to just the high, intense centrifugal force happening. Rocky sees this. He breaks out of his little bubble to save Dr. Grace. He resets, or like he pushes a button that Dr. Grace was about to before he passes out. And then he pulls Dr. Grace to the med bay where he woke up. And Armando gets him all better. But as this is happening, Rocky is like smoking and smoldering. It's like, it's not looking good for him. Back on Earth, in the past, Dr. Strott tells Dr. Grace that she's essentially chosen him to be the scientist on the mission. And he's just like, can I have some time to think about it? And she's like, you got 3 hours. Back on the ship. Rocky lives. Oh, thank God Rocky lives. I wasn't actually sure if he would or not. I wasn't sure how he got back. Dude's amazing. Little Rock dude's amazing. It's a while before he wakes back up. Dr. Grace has started breeding the amoeba. He calls it Tau amoeba. And he also had to create this amoeba to survive in nitrogen-rich environments, because otherwise the nitrogen would kill the original bacteria. And so he creates Tau amoeba, which can survive in a nitrogen-rich environment. He does all this, and then he just starts kind of watching Rocky sleep and waiting for him to wake up, and he does. And then they have a little party, and Rocky has these little party clothes on it. I don't know where it's very cute. Little spiky little frilly things on his shoulders. It's the necklace. Oh, he's adorable. There's fireworks going on in the screen room. Dr. Grace gives Rocky his little hacky sack, which he's had this whole time, and it looks like it's crocheted to look like the Earth. A little miniature hacky sack, or And he gives it to Rocky to remember him by. And Rocky's just like, I don't have anything to give you. And Dr. Grace is just like, you give me one thing. And he really wants to see Rocky's ship. So Rocky builds him this suit out of what he has made his little balls out of that Grace can walk around into his ship. And so he gets to explore that ship. And then they part ways. Yay! Earth is saved. Or Earth is going to be saved. It's not saved yet. Earth is going to be saved. Rocky's planet's going to be saved. We're doing great. Back on Earth, Grace refuses the mission. He's just like, no, I can't do it. And she's like, you don't really have a choice. She brings in a doctor who's going to sedate him. He runs. He doesn't get very far. They catch him. And Carl's just like, you got this, bro. Essentially. That's not a direct quote, but that's the vibe. And that is how Dr. Grace became the astronaut that we see, even though he puts the not in astronaut. So Rocky and Grace have said goodbye. And Dr. Grace is on his way home. Rocky's on his way to his home. Dr. Grace is about to go to sleep and be put back into an induced coma when there is a contamination breach or contaminant detected that wakes him up. The bacteria that he made, the Talmibo, has found a way to wiggle out of the xenonite that Rocky makes and has infected the ship. Thankfully, Dr. Grace caught it in time and was able to contain it, so it's not slipping out of the xenonite anymore. But then he realizes Rocky's ship is made entirely out of xenonite, so the entire ship is the breach. There's nothing that can be done to stop it. And so he has a choice here. Does he continue to go home, or does he go save Rocky? Because he doesn't have enough fuel to do both. He chooses to go save Rocky. There's these 4 little beetle probes. They're called Beetles. And yes, they are named after the Beatles. John, Paul, George, and Ringo. The little things for the humor in this movie is peak. I love it. Very my sense of humor. So he goes to save Rocky. He sends us off with all the data and samples of the Talmibo. And they go to Earth. Earth, it has been probably close to 20 years now, or 10. I'm not sure how long it's been since he left. Dr. Shaw has aged, clearly. I'd say it's probably 10, 20 years, somewhere in that range that it's been since they sent Dr. Grace into space. She has collected his samples, and they are ready to start working to save Earth. Also, Rocky did survive. He is not dead yet. That leak did not kill him. Dr. Grace got there in time. That's good. And so, our final scene, Dr. Grace, he's exiting a house. Oh, he must have made it to Earth. Maybe he and Rocky, because Rocky shows up in his little suit, and I'm like, oh, they made it to Earth. No, actually, they made it back to Rocky's planet, and that is where Dr. Grace is now living. Rocky created this a bigger bubble on his planet for Dr. Grace to live in, and so he's teaching the other little creatures, the other little Rockies on his planet, about science and everything. It's really cute. They live there. I'm not sure what he's doing about his... Well, he might be able to harvest and farm, but I'm not sure what he's really doing about food. I'm not really sure what he's doing about food, but I guess that wasn't important enough to put in the movie. That was Project Hail Mary. Great movie. Great movie. Definitely go see this movie. I'd recommend seeing it in IMAX. For this review, I had seen this in ScreenX, which is where you have the 180-degree kind of screen. But I'm seeing it again soon in 70mm. But I'm always saying go see it in the best film possible. If you have a 70mm that you can get to, go see it in that. If you have an IMAX, even if it's not 70mm, go see it in that. Dolby or RPX, just go see it. Even if it's a standard screen, it's still gonna look good. So go see it. Just go see this movie. It's so fun. It's funny. It has really emotional scenes that'll get you. It's good science. Look at a cute little alien guy. So worth seeing. I know by the time this is out, most of you probably will not have seen this movie yet. So let me know if you're probably not watching this if you're going to see. After you've gone to see the movie, which is probably when you're watching this, let me know what you thought of it. If you feel that Ryan Gosling was the right choice, or who you would have cast in the role of Dr. Grace. But until next time, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you around. Bye!